have dates on it. And there will be about 40 to 50 interviews that will all have the same embargo date, and all 50 interviews will launch in one go. But if you count each of those as one, it's over 100 interviews, press events annually. But most of them are what Brian is saying, where they're incredibly conservative, and it's look back at what we've done, look at what we know is coming, that we've already built. We're already playing it. So when they talk about it, he's trying to not say too much, but anything he does say is based in fact. So then when he takes questions about the future, there's this like, expect to hear more from us soon, or there's these phrases he always says where he never really answers them. We'll think about that. Let me get back to you on that, because he doesn't have to address them because he's already given you something to chew on. And that's where I think Ashes and Star Citizen have a tougher job, is they communicate as much as Final Fantasy XIV does, which is amazing, but they're doing it without any concrete gameplay kind of history. They don't have 10 years of published game that they can kind of refer back to.
No. And even the current experience isn't I still argue we're still very much in the like proving out the tech areas of this game, right? So you don't even have a game to call out to now as much. They're trying, they're definitely focusing in the right direction to do that. I think a little bit more this year than they've ever done. So that's always good. But they Final Fantasy versus this, I mean, they're not even in the same universe as far as like what.
But
every
the
day
scale
when you
and the
log in and
scope,
play
though, is vastly different from what
Who cares?
like. Well, I do, like, because
no,
like,
I know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, like when I say who cares, I just mean from my perspective is like I play an MMO to log in and be like, wow, there's 500 things for me to do, and which one of them am I going to do today? And I don't have enough time to do them all, so like I have to prioritize something. But there's always something to do in this game. That runs out really quick. You play through a patch cycle a little bit and you check out the new stuff, and it's like, okay, I see what they're doing here. This is cool. Or a little bit of feedback on this, a little bit of feedback on that. And then for most people, unless you're, doing what I'm doing and trying to cover the project a little bit more, you're adios. You're playing some other games, you're checking out some other things, and you're moving on. But with a game like Final Fantasy or any MMO, that's what you play. At the end of the day, when you come home from work, you play a couple hours of your MMO, right? And you do whatever you have time to do. Because those are games where you don't have time to play anything else. This game is not that yet because we're still in that tech demo phase. Like, yeah, scale, scope, all that stuff. Ginger, it's awesome, right? It's crazy. Like, there's no game I want to play. There's no world I want to see a game put into than this one, right? But we don't have that yet. That's what I want to sink my teeth into.
How long until you think it can start to be, we've added something and we've added it? One of the things we're testing is scale, right? So we've added, instead of adding one of the quest, we're going to add 100 of the quest. And instead of adding one of this new type of mining node, we're going to add 1,000, where like scale is the goal.
Well, I guess maybe we're describing scale in a different way. I thought he meant scale as like, wow, there's just the sheer space of things is insane.
I mean, in MMO, it's both, is it not?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
well, yeah. There's definitely the how fast are you able to add a volume, in that regards, because the appetite for these kind of games and the content within it, like it's one of the things we're seeing right now with New World, which just as the PTR is now live and the controller support official has been added, and it honestly is fantastic. But one of the complaints that, that game suffers from right now is that they've spent a lot of time redoing some of their foundational stuff, the MSQ, bringing in controller support. That's not content for a lot of people. That's not content. And so I do theorize that based off of like the things they've been doing, that content will come, but content takes a lot of time, especially PvE content, because then it has to have that design and that process. And then gamers are going to, consume it and then optimize it and then complain about it. Like the strategy is, I always going to say, MMOs have 3 seasons: the season of hype, the season of grind, and the season of bitch. And then it just repeats. And the question is how long is that 3rd season? Because that's where, like, to just kind of like meme on your name, salt, like that's where the salt is farmed. That's where it is found. It's in that 3rd season where normal gamers, and I mean normal, the ones that like have a job and they're like, maybe I can play this, my video games an average of 8 hours a week. That's the standard gamer nowadays. And then the content creators like us assholes get in there and be like, dude, I just put 60 hours into this game this week. I did everything that this patch has. What am I gonna do for the next 3 or 4 months? So like that cadence. That's how I guess that's right in terms of we're kind of defining the scale in both categories, both in terms of like what the game offers, but also how do they scale so that they are hitting a normal and predictable kind of cadence, because that seems to be the model when we look at successful games as service MMOs. That's what we end up seeing, I guess, overall. But what do you think about it?
It makes me think of a callback to Ashes of Creation for a moment. Is one of the reasons that game initially was on my radar and I was starting to get interested in was because of its funding or its post-release plan for funding, which is a subscription model MMOs. Like, that's what I grew up playing. I started with Ultima Online, and the way those games worked was because you were on a subscription model, the design was to make things last a little bit longer. So like New World does not have that. You go through New World stuff pretty quickly. But I take my time with New World. I'm not of the like content creator on New World's standards, I guess, because I play maybe about that 8 hours a week if I'm lucky with it. So I've just been going through each dungeon, trying to farm artifacts, things like that. That's been fun.
Yeah.
But I think what successful MMOs do is they create these really long grinds for the power gamer, and then they have nice, fun, little interesting things to do for your not so, I guess, your casual, or your Care Bear is not the right word. Care Bear would be a different thing, but like your casual. And then but how many games have successfully done that? None, probably, right? Like nobody's perfect. So I don't know. I think that's where I struggle with Star Citizen. Is another callback was, all right, we're talking about these things and we're communicating that, all right, we're going to do things soon, or we don't want to say too much. And the thing that Star Citizen has struggled with so much in that standpoint is they say something about how, let's say, a ship, for example, will work. And because you think that is cool, then you financially support them for that individual ship. And then that thing comes back not how they said it was, or not how you mind created the way that ship will work. And then this whole thing becomes, that's why I think there's more fuel in the Star Citizen hate fire sometimes for people, is everybody has been wronged by Chris Roberts at some point because of these things, right? Because whatever they say in the concept phase is never what it's going to be in its reality. It's always going to be slightly different or incredibly different. So everybody gets upset at some point, and